we're going to have a whole entire episode dedicated to the engagement of Britney Segrist. But before we do that, we have a little surprise for you, Britt, because this is just a little walk down memory lane.
A few minutes later.
I can't stop crying.
Guys, why didn't you prep me with waterproof mascara?
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Life Uncut. I'm Laura.
I'm engaged. But I'm also Brittany.
Have you lost your goddamn mind over the weekend?
I am on a high. Yeah, I'm on a high and I haven't yet come back down to ground.
It's been a big week for everyone, I'd like to point out. So Britt, as you guys all know, and as you are here for, Britt got engaged.
But it's not all about me because Laura got nits.
I got nits on the weekend and I can't wait to tell you all about it. And producer Keeshia won a very important award because she is the best producer in the whole world.
Yeah,
Yay!
she won a big media award, like at our Australian Media Week. So we're very, very proud. On top of that, you looked absolutely banging.
Yeah, when you sent that photo, I was like, fuck, you're hot.
Oh, thanks, guys.
And then I was like, oh, you won. That's so good.
Congrats. Well, the nicest thing, I think, not only was the award for Life Uncut in total, but also Mitch, your radio host, was hosting the night. So I kind of walked into the night thinking that I was going to be sitting like with a table with randoms. Ended up knowing quite a few people from my radio days that were sitting at the table. And then Mitch was hosting, and it actually felt like such a nice personal little evening.
Which is why Keeshia got so lit city she couldn't leave her house the next day.
Yeah.
It was so personal. I got so blind.
I got too excited. I was like a bit nervous at first, and then I got too excited.
Well, we are very proud of you because you are a direct reflection of us. So we were worried for a little while.
Also, though, I'm going to say, I feel like that's the worst combination for getting drunk. When you're excited and a little bit nervous and you're not sure, like when you don't really know everyone around you and then you're like, ha, liquid personality.
100%.
And then it goes a bit too far.
I think people do that at weddings, yeah. And I did, I say I went a little bit too far, but it's only because I haven't been drinking for pretty much this entire year.
That you did it all in one day.
I just made up for it, and now I'm back on my no drinking train.
I think they call that binge drinking.
But, I thank you so much, guys. I actually felt so special, and I had such a brilliant night. And it's really cool because at the awards night, the particular one that I was up for, on-screen producer, and a lot of the organisations that were in every single category, they were the really big networks. It was like Paramount, Nine, there was ones for ARN, there was ones for SCA, like all of these massive companies. And then there was just little Life Uncut, like just this.
The little fish.
And it actually felt so nice for, I don't want to say the underdog, but in terms of numbers and in terms of size of a business, it's really fucking cool that we are in there, fighting it out with the big doggy dogs.
Fighting the conglomerates.
Especially when there's four of us.
Yeah. That's what I mean, So, I had a brilliant time. So thank you so much.
Well, I know you guys have come here to hear all about my knit story, so I'm really thrilled to tell you as well.
I actually just realised that I subconsciously scratched my head because anytime I hear that word, my scalp just gets itchy.
It throws you back into turmoil.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago when we did the radio show with Mitch, I was gloating because my children are so bald that they don't catch nits, right? Like everyone else has had it. All the cousins have had it. But my kids have such wispy fine hair. And
the nits can't hang on. They get blown off.
They get blown off in the wind. But I mean, that's not a quality that most people, thin hair is not something that people find desirable. But like my children, they gained that hereditary gene from me. They have thin wispy hair, never to have had nits. Anyway, we're at the cafe on the weekend and I looked down at Marley and I was just playing with her head, giving her a little head massage. And I looked down and I was like, oh, girlfriend, you got dandruff. And then
girlfriend, she's 5.
I always call her girlfriend. And then
I
had a look a bit closer and I was like, holy shit. I could see them. She had full on nits crawling through her hair. And she was like, yeah, Mum, my head's been so itchy. So we went home and everyone has had nit treatments. And then I woke up and I felt itchy. So the whole family, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All we've done is nit treat each other. We're like monkeys in a zoo that pick bugs off each other and eat them.
But you all have to commit, right?
We have.
You can't half commit. You can't have commitment issues with a nit situation because they just be like, hey, sucker, I'll come back tomorrow. They even jump off sometimes and chill for a minute on a lounge.
I feel itchy now.
Chill for a minute, then they just jump back on.
We have done nothing. We're nit treatment, no sleep, brush, more oil, comb.
Does your
every
whole
day.
house smell like tea tree? Do they still use tea tree? Is that a thing still?
Oh, well, yes, it's a tea tree oil thing.
Yeah.
But I've done 2 treatments on the girls. I've done 2 treatments on myself. I've done 2 treatments on Nana. And Matt was He was like, I'm not having it. My hair's so dirty. I'm not going to get nits. And then last night I was in there combing his hair. And what did I find? A little nitty nit.
I feel itchy now, like you've given it to me.
Probably I'm giving it to all of you. You probably should do some nit treatments, guys.
I don't know if my hair's healthy enough anymore. I think it's been bleached beyond oblivion because they only pick healthy hair.
Do they? It's very humbling. Let me tell you. I feel like I've entered a new phase of parenting, and I can't wait for the Daily Mail article to talk about your engagement and Laura Byrne getting nits. That's what's going
What
happen.
a week for Life Uncut.
We've all had some wins in life, but no, look, we know the reason that you're all here today. And it's the reason that, it's the thing we've been holding on to for hope for the last 5.5 years. It finally happened.
We've been praying to the gods every day. Please, someone take Brittany off our hands.
No, but last week's episode on Thursday, you guys all heard it. You saw the videos. It was like the biggest surprise for us. And every time I watch that video, I cry. I think I've cried like 4. It's been viewed millions of times. I think 1 million of those views is me, and I think I've cried 1 million times as well.
Ben and I said the same thing. Ben and I have not stopped watching the video.
It's so sweet.
And at the start, it was, in all honesty, Ben is new to this media world, right? So like he doesn't really do Instagram and online, and he doesn't get it. He plays football and that's it. And when I said, I'm going to surprise the girls and tell them on camera, he couldn't understand it. He was like, but why? Like, why not just tell them? And I said, because I just feel like
everything is content.
Well, no, and I had this convo with some lifers actually who were like, thank you for like including us. And that's what I wanted to do, because you lifers have been on the journey with us, all of us, for so damn long, like literally 5 years of the highs and the lows, and you know it all. And I wanted to make it like an intimate moment, but also bring everyone in and feel included. And Ben was like, okay, like whatever you want to do, but I don't get it. Anyway, he watched the video back crying and he's like, I get it. He's like, it's so good. He's like, it's so beautiful. I love it. And he can't stop watching it. Then I'll hear him. He's like, I'm just going to the bathroom. I'll hear him in the bathroom and I can hear the video playing in the bathroom. I reckon Ben has contributed to 1 million of those. It's like 2.5 million views or something. I think he's watched them all.
I mean, this is kind of the thing that like Life Uncut was built on, right? Like we've spoken about this throughout the years. On one hand, it was talking about relationships and talking about love. But I think the real thing that's like set us apart is talking about female friendship. Like that's been such a huge part of what makes this podcast joyful. The fact that we are real friends and get to share in these life milestones. And like watching that video back, it was one of the things that I felt so proud of. I was like, oh, we're just so lucky. We're so lucky we get to work together. We're so lucky we genuinely love each other and that we've been able to create the community off the back of that. Yeah. And Britt, like you, in terms of an announcement, it's your special day, but you made us feel so special by doing that. So it was
Ben
incredible.
didn't know, but he actually proposed to all of us. Ben, you're all of our fiancé now.
We're all engaged. Thank you. Which also means we have a claim to a part of that ring.
One of my favorite things to watch back in it, if you are someone that hasn't watched that video yet, please go and watch it. But my favorite thing to go back, and I just keep freeze framing on the reel, is just watching both of your faces. Keeshia, the genuine shock, and then like putting the hands over her mouth and her eyes couldn't get wider, and then it pans to Laura, and I've never seen someone's mouth so wide. All I could think was lucky Matt, if that's what he gets. But your mouth, I was just like, woman, you look like Luna Park, like that, you know. So much judgment in it as well, like that, like not in a bad way, but the moment when I started crying and Laura still hadn't clocked and she thought it was a listener's,
I was like, you
she
loser.
goes, are you crying at like an Ask Uncut? And then the realization, I love the entire thing. I can't stop watching it. Then I've even been watching back the video of us watching it. Like, it's weird. It's an Inception thing. I'm obsessed with my engagement still, but that's because it's only been 5 days or something. Like in my head, I'm like, why am I still so excited and obsessed? And it's because it's literally hasn't even been a week.
Well, we don't know. So like, I know that sometimes you guys probably think that we know everything beforehand and that like a lot of it is just kind of contrived for, you know, making content, as in like telling you guys on the podcast. But we haven't asked Britt any details around the engagement because we wanted to have like a genuine, honest, it to be like a revelation to us at the same time. So when all that happened last week when we recorded on Wednesday, we then stopped down. We were like, this is not getting tacked onto the back of an Ask Uncut. We're going to have a whole entire episode dedicated to the engagement of Britney Segrist. But in order to do that, we had to like wait until today. So we are asking all these questions for the first time. We also put out a call out to you guys on Instagram. So we've got all your questions as well to ask Britt. But before we do do that, we have a little surprise for you, Britt, because as you mentioned, it has been such a journey. You've also brought everyone along for it, you know, as we always do for these big milestones in our lives that we share on the pod. And this is just a little walk down memory lane.
I haven't even heard it and I'm crying. What's wrong with me? What is wrong? There's this deep-seated issue still in society that, if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're single, there's something wrong with you. Or 99% of the time, I'm proud to be single. I'm happy. Yes, I'm looking for a relationship, but I'm still happy in myself. But in those moments, for a second, even I felt it. I was like, I don't want everyone in this audience looking at me being like, woe is her. I'm still crushing.
I'm
crushing hard.
No. I am going to tell you that this is a disaster waiting to happen.
Firstly, I have an attraction to people that aren't here.
Yeah.
Because I'm commitment phobe.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That he's physically not here.
Turn on.
That you only knew him for 2 days and now you're in love with him.
I'm not in love with him. I'm in lust with him. It was 3 days. We've been speaking for a long time now.
Of course. Brittany never learns. I want to know, how's the guy?
I don't know. I feel like saying it's not overly serious yet, but maybe
But then you're like,
going that way.
You're like, I can't say that because then what if he hears this and then he thinks it's serious and then you've just said it's not serious and oh dear God, it's a fucking minefield.
And then this one face popped up and it was Ben. I was like, wow, that guy's good looking. Checking on the bio. He's foreign, tick, athlete. Wasn't a tick benefit, but I thought that would be really good if I was going to have a fling, right? Someone like fit and healthy that can really go the long haul. And I was trying to say, like, let's have a little no strings attached fling. And by the 4th day, he was like, I really like you. And I said, I really like you too. Well, why does that matter if I don't live here? If we are the people that we would want to date, let's keep talking. One part of me was like, amazing, this makes me feel good. The other part was like, how am I going to tell Laura? I don't know how you would explain it. I don't know what the label is right now. It's serious without being serious. I think it's going that way, but it's not there yet.
What are you doing for Christmas, Britt?
Well, I booked flights last night, Laura.
Oh, shit.
I am going to lay it all on the line here. You're either going to get like happy in lust, love, Brittany, or you're going to get heartbroken, Brittany.
No, we don't. Nobody can handle heartbroken Brittany again. No one wants.
Is it that bad?
I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be heartbroken again. No. That's a horrible thing to have to go through.
Yeah, we're probably 3 months deep now to the relationship.
Look at your face.
I'm fully blushing.
I am so happy. Like, I'm so happy that you're happy. All I want is for you to be in a relationship where you feel emotionally secure, where you feel secure, not just in distance, in how supported you are, in the level of priority that you take in their life. Like, all of those things are things that I want for you. And I know you want them for yourself.
Yo, girl is head over heels in love.
Yay!
I cannot fault him right now in one part of his entire life. Who he is, anything about him. He's just the most divine human.
I'm so happy that you are happy. You are absolutely emanating excitement and love.
Flash forward to now, and I've never been happier. And last week on a beautiful island, he asked me to be his wife.
You're crying?
I just want to know what's a cute way to tell my friends that I'm getting married. What I will say is, like, it was the most incredible day of my life. I can't stop crying. Guys, why didn't you prep me with waterproof mascara? I can't stop crying. I feel like I've probably got black eyes. That was so, like... Yeah, wipe the right one.
Everyone, this
Hang on, we need an intermission.
This is why producer Keeshia won the award.
I was just putting that together, like going back through so many of the episodes and just finding these little snippets of you. I was an absolute mess, but it just reminded me of how much you wanted this like really true and beautiful love. And it's like, it's so beautiful to see this come from, you know, because we've been there through your breakups. We've been there through the times where you were dating and just like not loving life.
Yeah, the guy that wanted me to sit on his face.
Meat raffle. Which one?
Meat raffle when I got sold. That was
what about meat raffle? Where's he now?
To kind of, you know, just listen to all of those moments so back to back and, you know where it got to and know that now we're at this point where you're just like so overwhelmingly happy and, you know, how happy Laura is for you considering that it was initially, you know, we thought it was a disaster waiting to happen.
I do like to say that I'll eat my own shit. And in this instance, I will eat my own shit. But
she was like, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I'm going to have to pick up the pieces again.
So
and now you're just going to pick up my arm off the ground.
You know, because it's so sore from how big my diamond is. But no. Okay, before we start being silly about that, it was always really hard because like after we had that conversation, when you very first met Ben and you came back from overseas, you were like, I'm in love. And I was like, this is a terrible fucking disaster.
You're like, you're not. You had great sex for a month.
Yes, you're in a sex hole. You've got sex blindness. This is an orgasm blindness, Britt.
I came back on crutches. And I was like,
you
I
just
love
saw
him.
God. Like, you
just floated into heaven.
You hit Nirvana. It's not real. Come back down to earth. No. What happened after that? Because, I mean, when you have just seen your friend go through a bad heartbreak, I think we spoke about parts of it on the podcast, but probably never to the extent, right? Like you were so unhappy for such a period of time. And in my mind, when we had that episode, I know so many people messaged me and they were like, fuck Laura, can't you just be happy for her? And I was like, no, I can't be right now. And it's not because I'm not happy for her. It's because I'm so worried that we're going to be back where we were a year ago. And that's not for me. That's for you. You know, I don't want to see you hurt. And that was my biggest fear because statistics say that long distance is hard. And at the time I was like, this is some random dude you've met on fucking Raya. Like, I don't know this guy from a bar. So now Ben's sitting here and I love him. So Ben, you won me over. But I genuinely, before we get into answering like all the questions and everything, like I genuinely want to say from the bottom of my heart, I am so happy that you were happy. Like I am so, and I'm going to cry again.
What is wrong with us?
Hey
guys,
so
if you have
happy.
a tear fetish, watch Life on God.
If you want to lubricate yourself with tears,
Without
this
tears.
is the place to come. No, I am so happy for you guys. I'm so happy that you proved me wrong, and I hope that you never thought that it was anything other than just like the protection of you and not wanting to see you be hurt again.
No, and I 100% know. And
Ben's a great guy.
but we didn't know that then. No, and it's so like, thank you so much for putting that package together because I mean that was back in the end of 2022, and we do these episodes, and we've had over 500 episodes. So often like
570 now, just so you know.
So nearly 600 episodes. So we remember what we talk about, but at the same time we don't remember exactly what we say. And then just to walk back to memory lane to like
It's so
hear me
special.
talking about that first weekend that I met him, and like I could hear me blushing through that, like the funniness of me like, hey YOLO, I'm booking flights to live with some stranger in the UK. But that's what they say, right? When you know, you know. And I do feel so lucky that I found Ben the way that I did after like a very dark year, and that I get to look back on it because of our job. Like that is such a special thing,
Isn't it?
It's such a special thing, and that you guys just put that together for me. So thank you so much. You pulled one on me this time.
Well, Ben's going to be joining us on the app at some point, but before he comes on and sort of tells us like his side of the engagement story, we wanted to have the opportunity to grill you first. So we've got all the questions from you guys. We also have loads of questions ourselves. I want to kick it off because I have a few things that I want to tell you around the ring and around the fact that we all kind of had an inkling. Well, actually, we knew it was happening, but we didn't know when. So you played the surprise so fucking well because we had a group text going after Hamilton Island and we were like, do you think he did it? Do you think he didn't? And then the fact that you held the secret for so long, which I know that the diarrhea kind of like enabled that to be the case, but you held the secret for so long that we all doubted ourselves completely and thought, okay, it hadn't happened on that weekend. He must be doing it at another day.
I gaslit you.
You gaslit us hard. You played it
True
so
friendship.
hard. But talk us through like the start of the day, what was happening when you were in Hamilton Island and like what was happening the day prior?
I wonder if Ben's story is going to be slightly different, but the way that I see it is we'd only been in Hamilton Island one day, and the night before Ben and I had gone to dinner, and he just wasn't normal. He wasn't that abnormal, but I was like, what? I ended up putting dinner. I was like, well, are you all right? I was like, what is wrong? And he's like, nothing. I'm just tired. Like and I'm like, but you're on holiday. Why are you tired?
You've done nothing.
Yeah, I'm like you. Meanwhile, I'd been running him ragged, like with everything, booked every day.
You're a professional sports player. You do way more than this. You should be, this is a
Exactly.
relaxation for you.
So there was, in hindsight, I look back and I see that was because he was nervous. Like that was the night that he was thinking, oh my God, tomorrow I'm having this moment. I'm looking at the person I'm going to ask to marry me. But I was like, what the fuck is wrong? I was like, so then the next day, Ben was like, I'm going to make you breakfast in the morning because we're staying in an Airbnb on the island. So he's like, I'm going to make you, because he loves to cook, I'm going to make you a huge, beautiful, big breakfast. In the morning we wake up and he's like, oh my God, I forgot the avocado for the avocado toast. And I'm like, how could you forget the one thing?
It was one of 3
It's
ingredients.
avocado toast. He goes to the supermarket. He's like, I got the bread. That'll do me. So he's like, I better go down to the supermarket and get it. And I was like, I'll come. And he's like, no, just stay and relax. And I was like, it's fine. I want to get a coffee. He's like, I'll bring you a coffee back. And I was like, babe, I'm coming. We'll get a coffee. We'll go for a walk. And he's like, can I just make you breakfast in bed? And I was like, fine. For whatever reason.
You're like, you're being crazy.
So, yeah. So
you're like, I can't wait to pick a fight with you about this.
So I stayed in bed and it turns out that I had been stuck to him like glue since he's been here, that he purposely forgot the avocado so that he could have 10 minutes to go to the supermarket in the morning to call my dad and ask my dad. So that was the moment that he left to call my dad.
I mean, you really left it to the last minute, Ben.
I said the same thing. I was like, he's like, you wouldn't leave me alone. I was like, babe, I think most people ask like months in advance.
The day of.
Yeah. Ben
What if
was
he said no? What were you what were you going to do?
That's what I said. He's like, so he literally called and was like, I'm going to ask Brittany this afternoon if that's cool. I'm like, Ben, what if he said, no, it's not cool? Like, what do you do then? So the day was normal. We were sitting by the pool and this big, beautiful boat went past the ocean. So beautiful that I don't often comment, but I was like, wow, Ben, like that is a beautiful boat. I didn't know, obviously, but he knew that was the boat that he had chartered because they'd messaged him saying, the boat's leaving now, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, wow, that is a beautiful boat. And then we left it. Now, I have said, and I've said it on the podcast before, so OG listeners, you guys will know, I have said before that I've had conversations with Ben where I'm the planner. I'm always surprising him with stuff, like hardcore. Boats and choppers and fishing trips and diving with whales and whatever. There's always something. I've said to Ben, next trip I'd really like a surprise if you can do that to me because I like surprises too. So with an hour to go, we're sitting by the pool. He's like, hey, I haven't told you yet, but in an hour we're going somewhere. And I said, where? And he's like, we're going on a boat. So we played it down. He's like, we're going on a boat. And I was like, yes, you did a surprise. Like, amazing. Thank you. I was like, is it the same kind of a snorkeling trip we did last time? And he's like, yes, I know you love that so much. It goes out to the Barrier Reef. So I was like, epic. He's like, we've got an hour to get ready. So I put on my togs.
Packed your snorkeling gear.
I
your
literally,
mask.
I had my Crocs on. I had everything. And I was like ready to go. And with probably 3 minutes to go, Ben was like, oh, it's like quite a nice cruise first before we get to the snorkel place.
So pack something nice.
He's like, why don't you put a dress on and pack your togs? And I'm like, no, it's fine. We're going to be snorkeling and look gross anyway. And in hindsight, I can see it playing through his head. He's like, yeah, but we never get nice photos. Like, this is going to be a beautiful boat. He's like, it's nicer than last year.
You're like, we always get nice photos and I put them on my shrine.
Yes.
I get professional photos taken at every location we go to.
So I was like, okay, I'll take a dress. And he's like, no, let's get
Take a white one.
Yeah, no, he goes, we'll get some nice photos. He's like, because there's other people. It's like a sunsetty cruise, you know?
Yes, yeah.
He's like, so let's get the photos first and then you can put your swimmers on. Then we'll go snorkeling and then you can be gross, you know, like snorkel gross. So I was like, fine. So he, with 2 minutes to go, he pulled a dress out because I always bring a white backup dress in case.
10 white dresses.
So I'd hung
Wearing white every day.
Can you? Okay, I love this. For how long now, in terms of your relationship, have you been just packing a white dress for the occasion?
It's
in
also
case?
so funny to me that you have this idea that it had to be a white dress because I've never heard that from anyone else.
It's not, it didn't have to be a white dress at all. But we all know my entire life, I'm a neutral girl. White is my favorite color. It definitely didn't have to be white. I had a number of nice dresses that would have been a little bit dressier. And so Ben went into my wardrobe with 2 minutes, pulled a dress out, and he's just put this on. We'll take your swimmers. And I was like, wow, fine, he really wants this photo. Still didn't think about it because I just knew he'd made this sunset cruise. So we get down to the boat and the boat's not there. Then there's this whole other family with kids. And I was like, are they on a fucking boat? And he's like, well, maybe, babe. And I'm like, 6 screaming kids on holiday. That's on our boat. I was like, didn't you book an adults only boat? Like such a mole. I was like, what? And he's like,
I like feel personally victimized. I'm like, that would be me.
I was like,
shut up, you beautiful couple who like clearly just want to get engaged. Listen to my screaming children who have nits.
I just thought this whole family was going on our boat because there was no one else there. And then a helicopter bus pulls up. And he's like, surprise, it's a double surprise. And I was like, oh my God, we get to go on a helicopter
Okay,
first.
surely if you're getting a fucking helicopter to a boat, there's a little tiny bit of you, even if it's just your pinky toenail, where you're like, maybe,
So you'll remember last year.
maybe he's going to pop the question.
You remember we joked last year how I did the surprise for Ben at Hamilton Island. I took him on a helicopter cruise through the Whitsundays to a private island where you have a picnic. And the joke was I handed the engagement to him on a platter, you know. So I just thought it was the same thing. He's like, same as last year. I know you loved it. But I still genuinely, and I'll explain why, I didn't think it was going to happen in that moment. So we land. We take a few steps towards the picnic. He was like, you left your bag in the chopper. So I run back to the chopper. Meanwhile, as we're landing in the helicopter, the whole beach is beautiful and private. It's Whitehaven Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And it is so bare. And there's 2 girls doing a photo shoot like 100 meters up with a photographer. I thought that they were a gay couple that were just doing, because it looks very lovey and romantic. So I was like, oh my God, they're doing a photo shoot. That's so beautiful.
We've just crashed it 100 meters down the road.
Yes. So I was like, well, how beautiful is that going to be? Again, didn't think anything of it. The helicopter landed. I take a few steps away towards the water. Ben goes back to get my bag and he's like, come in. And he's like running up behind me. And then as I turn around, I'm talking, we had been out of the helicopter. I don't think the rotors had even stopped. We had been out for like 20 seconds and I turn around and he just falls to a knee. That was so quick. It was, and I, in true Britney style, just burst into laughter. I could not, and Ben's on one knee with this beautiful ring. I hadn't even looked at the ring and I'm in hysterics, cackling. And he's like,
Are you going to answer?
yeah. And then I'm just when you're just so shocked. So I dropped to my knees as well. He's like, why are you on your knees? Stand up. And I was like,
Did he actually ask the question?
yes.
Okay.
He said, I love you. You're the woman of my dreams. Will you be my forever squid?
It's very cute.
Laura wants to laugh.
I do.
Because Ben and I call each
I
other
know.
squids.
Cute names are still, cute.
Laura, you mum.
So, what does Matt? Matt doesn't even have a cute name for me. Fucking be nicer to me. He never proposed. He just got down on one knee, cried, and then popped straight back up and never actually said, will you marry me? But the ring was a pretty good indicator.
Yeah, I mean,
That
the
he
knee
meant to.
gave it
One
away.
knee also.
The drop to the knee, then the pop up, and then the ring. It was a good indication that he wanted to marry me, but hasn't actually asked yet.
He didn't
so.
say. Yes, but
Still
I think-
hasn't.
Well, I mean, Ben said, will you be my forever squid? So I'm taking that as, will you marry me? So I dropped to my knees, still laughing. He's like, get up. Why are you on your knees? Anyway, then I noticed the photographer who was at the helicopter. So the photo shoot was fake so that the photographer could be waiting on the beach. So those girls were not getting a photo shoot.
They were not a gay couple.
They were actually the
The
women.
camera assists.
They were the women that organised the whole proposal with Ben.
They were
Yeah.
decoys.
Yeah, they were a decoy.
Well, you can't just have a photographer roaming around a picnic. That's a bit.
I thought maybe the helicopter pilot doubled.
He moonlights. No, but that would have been a giveaway. If I was coming down and there was a photographer sitting there waiting, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get engaged. But they were
Yeah.
doing their own beautiful photo shoot, which happens in Hamilton Island. Yeah. So I'm laughing. I'm on my knees. He's like, get up. So I get up. He gets up, still hysterically laughing, cuddling him, kissing him, whatever. There's photos of us, me cuddling him with him still holding the ring out behind my back. Like I just haven't even looked at it yet. And he has to actually physically push me away. And he's like, can you answer me? And I was like, oh, what was the question? I was like, oh my God, yes. And then that was it. We had this beautiful, beautiful moment. The photographer was amazing. We didn't even notice her. You know, I don't know. You're just so in.
I mean, you're so used to it after being on The Bachelor. You could have a camera a foot away from you and
While
you're
you're
like,
having sex.
whatever, literally. Yeah. I know it's been a long time, but it is a very desensitizing thing. Like even on The Batch by final, I was like, what cameras? And there's like a whole crew. And I was like, love me.
Exactly. Finger me.
Why do you have to go there?
I know, sorry. I can't be serious. Anyway, so Ben was like, baby, you haven't even looked at the ring yet. And I was like, because I don't care. I don't want to say I've thought about it my whole life because I haven't been that person. But since I've always thought about who my person's going to be, but I haven't ever cared about that proposal moment as much as some people might. And he's like, how have you not looked at the ring? He's like, God damn it, look at the bloody ring. And
I mean, it has its own gravitational pull. So like, it's surprising that you didn't just get sucked into its orbit, to be honest.
yes, 100%.
You're like trying to say I do and you're like,
I love you. Anyway, but I do like that. He was a bit upset by that. And then I did cry in between the laughter. I was so overcome with emotions.
Yeah.
Like exactly like what we've been doing since we've been talking about it. I'm laughing and then I was crying and then I was laughing.
You almost like feel a bit hysterical, don't you? The wave of hysteria from like happy laughing to like crying to then laughing. You're like, is this a breakdown?
He thought I was crazy.
Am I having an emotional breakdown right now?
Is this a Tuesday for me?
But so funny. Then immediately after, he was like, look, I'm not going to lie. I did expect or hope for a few more tears.
Less laughing, more tears.
Well, we've made up for it on the podcast. But
I didn't think there'd be quite so much laughter when I asked you to marry me. And I had to explain to him that for me was shock. And that's how I mean, we all know laughter and humor is how I deal with everything. Like any emotion, I just start laughing.
But I genuinely think for a lot of people, they probably don't respond in the way that they think they're going to respond. Because like, especially if you are caught off guard, or sometimes not even if you're caught off guard, like even if you know it's coming, I guess it's something that you probably played out a version of it in your head. But when it actually happens in real life, like your brain, things don't like connect as quickly as what you expect them to.
Yeah. When I went back through the photos, because the dress has all this open side and I just had the oldest, ugliest, greyest undies on that you could see. Because I was like, fucking who cares? I'll get changed into my swimmers when I get there. So then as soon as I realized we're engaged, and
you took your undies off?
I took my undies off. I was like, I was like, can you wait a minute? And I took my undies off and I was like, no, don't shoot from below. Don't, because all the flaps were out. I was like, everything's like, I was like, just shoot me, you know.
I have to
you're
stand.
free flapping in all of your engagement pics.
I free flapped in all the pics. Yeah.
I love that so much.
I did wonder where like the panty line was. I did have that thought. I was like,
there.
that's an aggressive dress. I couldn't wear that.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Like, I have to wear underwear.
After your labiectomy, Laura, you can do anything. You don't have to wear undies.
You won't even know. I'll look like I have stick-on undies on. That'll just be all, I'll look like a Barbie doll again.
I just thought this was the most incredible day of my life and I hadn't even really started yet. So then this tiny little boat turns up to the beach, to the shore in the middle of nowhere. And they were like, this is your charter. And I was like, what? So we get on this little boat that speedboats us to the big, beautiful yacht that we saw originally like 3 hours before. So Ben had chartered. Like, I just felt like a Kardashian. I was like, this is my moment. That'll probably never happen again. This entire boat with a crew just for us. And when we got on, he had my favorite cocktail waiting. He had an amaretto sour waiting. He had like beautiful food platters, really nice champagne. And we were on that boat for a few hours to cruise around the Whitsundays with the sunset. The photographer came on the boat with us and kept shooting us on the boat. And we just danced, we ate, we drank, we laughed. We were literally dancing like, if you look at us dance, you would have thought we felt like there were 50 people around us. You know, like we just felt like
So happy.
Yeah, we just felt so happy in that moment. And Ben doesn't really dance, but he was happy enough to dance. The funniest thing is, and I'll put a photo up of this, I can only imagine what a boat like that set Ben back for that moment, but he wanted it to be perfect. But he gets on the boat and he can't fit. His head hit the roof because he's too tall. And I'm like, oh my God, you paid so much for this boat. And you can't even stand on it. He had to like duck down. But that was the day. So we went to sunset and then we cruised back and then we had a beautiful romantic dinner and then we had a beautiful romantic
evening.
Love making evening.
Yeah. To be young again.
We're the same
I
age.
was so pregnant. I was so pregnant when Matt proposed to me. So I don't actually remember any of that. Like, I don't know. I think I was like
You were
7
like 8 months or something.
Yeah. I really baby trapped the guy. So it.
No, you didn't. He would have proposed to you anyway. He wanted the baby, not you. He wanted
He
it
baby
all.
trapped me. Yeah, sorry. He
Yeah.
baby trapped me. That's
Yes.
right. I got baby trapped by my husband. No, but I remember him proposing, but then I like don't really remember what happened after. I probably went home and had a nap. I was like, that's enough emotions for me today. I'm hormonal
To be
and need
fair,
to sleep.
I almost thought it was like everyone says on their wedding night when so many people don't have sex on their wedding night.
No,
do
it's
they?
different for your engagement.
No, but I
Engagement's like,
almost didn't want to do it because I was like, I'm so emotionally exhausted. But then I looked at him. I was like, oh,
I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, I'll do it. But I had that feeling. I was like, this
Won't
is
be my best performance.
it won't be my best. Hey, let's do the starfish.
All right, I'm going to get out of here so Ben can come and answer some of the questions that all of the life has had.
Ben, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. Good
As
to
a
see you.
fiance.
Wow. Okay. If you guys listened to the pickup version of this, there was a couple of little conversations we've already had around rings and stuff. But you know what? You can just listen to this twice because we're gonna hit it all again. Firstly, how were you feeling on the day?
I was okay on the day. I was really chilled. I was really nervous the night before. I remember we were lying in bed and I was like, oh, I can feel my heart pumping. I was like, it's very unusual. But I'm normally quite like a relaxed person. So,
Yeah.
But on the day, I was really fine. because I know she didn't know at the time, because I thought I'll tell her last minute, because if I tell her early, her brain starts ticking over and putting things together. That's just how you are. So I thought I'll just tell her in the last minute, you know, and she's standing there in her swimmers in the back. I was like, okay, that's not going to work for me.
Thank God that I didn't do that engagement in
and
my bikini.
I looked in the wardrobe. I was like, there are 2 dresses in there. I was like, is this one left? I'll take the right one. That's the easier one. I just put it on, babe. We're going to be on a boat and, you know, get out of the house. It was a little bit rushed. Yeah.
I also find it amazing because when you say, and I know we spoke about it like a couple of weeks ago, you were like, I'm expecting it this year.
Yeah.
Which I would then think that if you're expecting it within the year, you'd be on hyper alert. Like any like semi situation that could be proposal worthy. The only thing is that you guys do proposal worthy things almost every weekend. So it's like, like that's what keeps the mystery alive.
Well, normally I would be probably thinking that this would be it. But next week we're going over to see my sister Sherry and Jay. We have some more like holiday, because every time we're together, like you just said, Laura, it is a holiday. Like we don't see each other all the time. So it's always nice. So I was like, we got 3 more trips this year. And some of them are with family, some of them with my sister, some are over the summer. So I was like, it probably wouldn't be with this one, knowing that I'm with my sister in 2 weeks. So I thought it was going to be in Europe in 2 weeks' time. So it really was a shock for me. And thank God. So Ben really likes to look after himself. But just before we were going, he looked at my nails and my nails were so bad and grown out. And he goes, babe, I'm going to go across the road and get a pedicure, which he's done before. I wasn't shocked. He's like, do you want me to see do you need anything done? And I was like, oh, if you're going to, yes, okay, I'll get my nails done then at the same time. So he was like, thank fuck.
Very
Ben,
subtle.
you are the most considerate. Like most men would not even think of that.
No, I just know that Britt would pay attention to this. And then I kind of look, I know nothing about nails, but I could tell they were kind of
You're like, they look terrible.
they were growing forward, or like, the gap.
You were like, I could see that you could climb up a wall with those talons. I thought you needed to fix them.
Yeah, so she was Wolverine. She would never forgive me if she had like a picture of her hands with the ring and then there's some scabby nails.
I would have had to have done everything like this.
Yeah.
Oh my
She made a
photos
claw.
like T-Rex.
The T-Rex is back.
So I know I mentioned this to you last week, Britt, but so when you were in the jungle, I got a message from Ben, and it was when we were on our holiday break in maybe April?
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? March. Okay. So I got a message, and it was actually, I'll read you the message. Hi, Laura. It's Ben with a little flag. I need your help and expertise. Now that Britt is out of the way, it's the perfect time to talk.
Well, I'm not dead.
You were in the jungle.
dead for 4 weeks.
You were gone. And then it has a little ring emoji. And then it said, just gathering some info from you and also from Sherry for the perfect one. Can we arrange a quick call when you're free to talk about some ideas? That would be great. Have a great day, Ben. And at the time I was overseas, so I was like, Ben! Exclamation. And then I had to keep this a secret from you and from everyone.
Right
and
before Hamilton Island, you said to me, do you think you're going to get engaged?
I was like, just to really rub it in. Because I didn't know. Because then Ben went silent. So we had been talking a little bit back and forth around like different ways to set the stone, different ways in which the best way to set a diamond, also like what you might like. So the thing that was very, very convenient was at the time, Britt being in the jungle, I had access to your full social media. So I was managing like all Brit's socials at the time through like Instagram
I got
and
some
whatnot.
dodgy messages, Laura. I'm not going to lie to you.
They were from Mitch. And I went through, and luckily Britt had done her absolute due diligence and obviously was very looking forward to the day that she was getting proposed to. And she had started to save not one, but many engagement rings. All
Many
of them,
different ones.
yes, but
So
all of them,
embarrassing.
there were so many saved. It was like she had a whole photo of just like wedding and engagement rings. But the thing that was very apparent was, although they were all slightly different shapes, there was only 2 shapes. There was like oval and cushion cut. They were the only 2. But there was one thing in common, and that was that they were fucking massive. Every single one was so obnoxiously big.
Yeah, dream big.
Yeah, I know. Manifest.
Manifest.
Manifest your perfect ring. Save them and make it easy. So anyway, I then screenshot all the ones that I thought were very much like your most recent style, and I sent them to Ben. And then from there, the perfect ring was created, and you did so well. It is so beautiful. But I also like so appreciate that you brought me along for that part of the ride.
Well, I obviously knew you were with your other business, that you were, the person to speak to, you know what to do, you kind of know the ins and outs. So
Jewelry
I thought,
designer.
Yeah. So I thought you spend every day together, so I'm sure it would have come up at some stage. Like if I wanted to get information, you were the one because you had the expertise.
I mean, I did try and give you the information. I was like, she wants yellow gold. And you were like, what about this ring? You, funnily, so you sent me a ring that you were like, hey, what about this one? And I was like, absolutely not. But that ring that you sent me was actually the identical ring that Matt gave me on The Bachelor. So it was my ring.
I must have Googled you.
Yeah, no, I don't know whether you might have sent it at some point to Ben or something because you were like, I have this photo, but I feel like if you had sent it, it would have been about the batch.
I would have got it from Instagram.
Do you mean your
probably.
ring or actual your?
It was a white gold. Do you remember when? So you know how like when you're on the show at the end, the guy.
I got dumped, Laura. I didn't get a ring.
Oh, you didn't get a ring. That's right. You did it for fucking nothing. Like what happened to that ring?
I got you. I didn't do it
true.
for nothing.
Who's the real winner here then?
You.
Yeah, I got you and
Still you, Laura.
I got you and a husband. No, and a ring.
Kids.
And a
ring.
But like you on your season, they would have had a ring, and then it would have
Yeah,
just
but I
gone
did-
back to Larson's.
Yeah, but they don't come up to me and say, hey, just so you know, this is what you would have got. Like, I don't see it.
Okay, so mine was this like white gold 4-prong diamond ring. You sent me a photo of it and I was like, Britt will not want that. She does not wear white gold. She will want yellow gold. And it sent you into a head spin because you were like, I must confirm this.
When we talk about jewelry, I know she likes gold, but obviously different kind of gold and all that kind of stuff.
Baby.
But the way my brain works is I do things step by step.
Yeah.
So I would have just focused on the actual diamonds and not knowing that it's actually important what kind of gold it is, you know, white gold or rose gold or whatever. So I was just like...
And you're like, gold is gold. It's all
yeah,
gold.
I'm like, gold is gold. But I was like, is this the right diamond?
Yeah.
So I'm not paying attention to the ring at this stage because I'm
Right.
working in like a set order in my head.
Got
I focus
you.
on the diamond, which is I thought is the most important. And then I got into the 4 C's or 3 C's or whatever, clarity and cut, and then what's the setting and what's
color, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, what's the setting, what's the ring, and then ring size. So I was just focusing on the actual diamond. I'm going, right, I got the diamond, right, what's the setting? And then I just work my way down till I have all the information I needed.
You were in...
Which is
okay.
confusing for some people.
Well, I know. I feel like it's the opposite. For someone who works because like I spend most of my days working with people who are getting engagement rings done.
Yeah.
You were so thorough. You knew so much.
I did
like,
my research, yeah.
You, like incredibly so.
Yeah.
Most men rock up and they're like, my girlfriend wants a ring. And I'm like, okay, cool. What kind? And they're like, I don't know. They like your stuff. And I'm like, what type of stone? And then they're like, a stone. And then I asked them, like, when are you proposing? And they'll go, I was thinking 2 weeks' time. And I'm like, cool, you need to buy one from the cabinet here because I'm not making a ring in 2 weeks.
Doesn't work like that.
But you did an amazing job. It is so, so beautiful.
You did a really
How did you feel when you got the ring?
Yeah, I got the ring and I opened the box. I didn't know it had this light. So it has this light which shines directly onto the diamond, like
When you
proper.
open the box.
from the box.
Yeah.
It's also, where did you, because you got it made in
I got
Dubai.
it made in Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah.
And
So I
you got
had
the diamond sourced in Dubai.
Yeah, so I had a friend, my agent helped me out with this, who said, hey, I've had my ring done for my wife. Quick turnaround because we talked about it, we thought, you know, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks and whatever. And is the ring going to come from your factory to here and I pick it up or whatever? You know, it was just too hard. So I thought I'll get it made in Dubai. I had somebody bring it over and then I looked at this box and it had this light and I didn't know it came with a light. And I opened it and I was like, oh, it's what is that? It looks like a toy box, you know. It was, but it was sparkly, you know. It was nice. And then, to be fair, it looked great on the video. It looked nice in the box, but it doesn't look as nice as it does on your finger. It looks so much better.
It's
and
beautiful.
I'm glad you approve. You obviously know what you're talking about. But I'm really happy it came out this way. And then last minute, obviously, I realized it's quite a big stone, and I thought I need to break down the ring a little bit optically. So I thought I'd get this little hidden halo kind of thing, which obviously I didn't know existed, but you know, I did my research. And at one stage I was listening to some girl doing an Instagram live talking about rings and settings, and I'm just like on the team bus, like just looking at engagements rings where all the boys are watching football and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so hidden halo, plum
You were
setting.
so far. You sent me
Yeah.
one message and you were like, I think I'm going to go hidden halo, pave setting, and you like listed all the things.
Yeah.
And I don't think in my entire time, like I'm talking 15 years of doing this, have I ever had someone be that specific and know what the actual technical terms were
If I do
for what they
something,
were
I want to do
asking.
it properly.
Yeah.
Like I want to
I get that
get it.
impression.
Yeah.
Like choosing a fiance.
Yeah.
So corny.
I'm such a loser.
The other thing that's very cool, and I also think that this is interesting for people who maybe haven't gone down the path of like looking for an engagement ring, is that there's so many more accessible sources for diamonds now. And so what you guys went and chose with is, and they call it a lab grown diamond, but I want to be very specific because it's the exact same composition of an actual diamond, a lab grown diamond. They're obviously still certified. They still go through all the same processing, but they are very ethically created. And I love that.
Well, whenever Ben and I in the past had spoken about it, I had said two things I want. One, just I want yellow gold. And the other thing, I always wanted lab-grown diamond because of that exact reason.
Yeah.
I was like, and Ben didn't really know about it then because why would you?
Oh.
But he's like, don't you want a real diamond? And I said, it's identical. It is exactly the same except ethically sourced, which was really important to me at the time.
Then a very big question for you guys, and something that so many people are interested in from the outset is, obviously you still are doing long distance at the moment. How do you plan, and the conversations that you've had around how does this change things? What are your plans moving forward? And also, like, how do you maintain the foundation of an amazing relationship as you're doing this long distance?
I don't think much is going to change. I proposed because I'm in love, so that thing doesn't change. Is it probably, for some people, the normal way of doing it? Because we haven't really lived together. We haven't had that day-to-day together. So for some people, it might be a little bit unusual, but it doesn't really change for me or for us. I think we got into this relationship knowing what the relationship's going to look like. Obviously, the end goal is to live together, of course. I think as many people are aware that somewhere down the line, after my career or just before my career comes to an end, I'd love to live in Australia. I love Australia. I love the people, how friendly they are. Love the country. Obviously, the weather is a nice upside to maybe some parts in the UK. So
sorry about the spiders and the snakes and stuff.
Yeah,
you got to take the wins with
that
the
is
losses.
a big problem, but I've stayed away from them, which is nice.
A lot of people don't understand, and it confuses a lot of people. And I understand that. We do get those comments, and we have got a few of those comments. How can you get engaged and not live together? But not all relationships are created equal, and it's not the same for everyone. And for us, this is just worked well for now, and it will keep working because I'm not currently saying yes to marry somebody because of the day-to-day. I'm saying yes to marry a person that he is, and the person and the things that we have together. And we have to work maybe a little bit harder to make our relationship the same as somebody else's that lives together day to day. But we've spent, and Ben, Ben says, oh, we don't get the day to day together. We spend 2 months at a time together sometimes. So it's not like we're not spending the time together where we're living with each other. Then we go away for 2 months and we come back.
Also, I would say, I mean, if you guys haven't listened to it, we interviewed Erin Holland on the podcast earlier in this year, and she spoke so beautifully around her long distance relationship and how, she was engaged, she was married, and they were still navigating that long distance aspect. And so everybody's relationships are quite different. And I think had I not heard her speak about it and speak about how they were doing it very, very successfully, despite people's perceptions around their relationship, and the way she described it was like, the hardest thing that we deal with isn't the fact that we do long distance, it's that people think that it can't work when it does work. I really appreciated her perspective on that because I think that really changed the way I feel about it.
And we are working towards it. This isn't forever, but right now in our life, we know we love each other. We know we want to spend our life with each other. We know we want to get married. We know we can't currently live together. Like, these are just
And
all
it's just
facts.
a phase.
Totally.
Like any relationship, it's just a phase. The way we got to know each other was maybe different than other people do their dating life. They probably choose a partner who lives within half an hour where they are based. We just happen to live really, really far away.
Really far away.
And maybe do it what some people call it the hard way, but it's not hard work because
we love each other.
Yeah, we love each other. So it's not a chore to talk to each other. I wake up in the morning, I'm excited to call her. We have a long day. I'm excited for her to wake up and call me, and we talk about the day and everything. And that works for us. Is that what we probably would have wanted before we met each other? Absolutely not, which I think I made pretty clear on our so-called one-night stand. But now we're here, and we're making the best of it. And I think we are really happy the way it's gone now. But we are working to an end goal, which is obviously living together. Being together and being at the same location.
But also, I think, and this is something which comes with a lot of privilege as well, and the fact that you guys are in such a fortunate situation with work and with the way your lives are structured. Most people wouldn't be able to do long distance in the way that you do it because it is very expensive to fly and see each other all the time. It does take a lot of time away from normal work. So if you work a normal 9 to 5, you couldn't have that flexibility. the way in which your lives are is not the norm for most people. And that's like such an exception to the rule as well, I think, which is what makes it work. If you had all those other constraints, maybe it would be too hard.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
But you have the ability to be able to get on a plane and if things are tough to go, you know, and to be together.
The thing is, we don't really. Financially, it is very, very expensive. And we definitely have to, and I do all the flying basically. We definitely had to make a conscious decision that like if we're going to do this, it's going to cost us a lot of in flights a year. We're going to have to make some sacrifices elsewhere. But in terms of being able to get on a plane when we want, we both can't do that. Ben gets 4 weeks off a year. That is it. So for all the people asking why Ben never comes to Australia, football is a job and he works 6 days a week. They get 1 day off a week.
If we're lucky, yeah.
If they're lucky, and they get 4 weeks off a year, which is right now. So that is it. For me, I'm here and I'm on radio. I can't leave either. So we do have very structured, every 2 months, I get 2 weeks with radio that gives us off and then I'll go over there. So it's actually not as free flowing as I think people think.
It's funny, when you were in the jungle, when you were doing I'm a Celeb, I got into like a fight with someone on the comments on I'm a Celeb, right? Because every day people were writing like, I don't get it. Why doesn't she just go? Like she just has a little podcast. She can do that from anywhere. And I got to a point where I was so sick of that conversation because I was like, firstly, obviously, if you could do that, you would do it. And secondly, it was almost this like narrative that was starting to play out and I could see it. It was like that I'm keeping you from going. And I was like, just going to jump in here. Hi, everyone.
Since you have warmed up
I was like,
towards me.
I know, because I'm trying to keep her from you, Ben. That's actually my evil plan is to keep her for myself. No, I was like, I hate, and I'll be very honest, I hate this narrative that like it should be you that just gets up and goes because you have a job that you can't leave.
She should leave her career behind and she should follow me. Yeah. And
everyone says, oh, but like Ben has a career and he can't leave the Celtics and just come to Australia. And Britt, you do a podcast. You can do that from anywhere. And I wrote this comment back and I was like, I just want to make it really clear. I'm not saying this to gloat. We have one of the biggest podcasts in the country. We have staff that are dependent on us. We run a radio show. I was like, this is not something that you can just jump online and do an hour of. I was like, there is so much work that goes into running a business. And also, why is Britt's career so invalidated in this conversation? Ben, you can play soccer anywhere. Come on over. Sure, you won't get paid as much, but like we've got the what was it? Central Coast versus Sydney. Like, but you know what I mean? I was like, people can be so quick to invalidate Britt's career as the female in this relationship, but nobody invalidates yours. Everybody understands why you don't come here, but nobody understands why Britt doesn't just go to you. And I feel the defensiveness over her because I've seen what you have created and what we have created. And you to go and do that, that's you making those sacrifices. So like when that time comes and you're making it of the volition of yourself and you're doing it for the greater good of the two of you,
we'll make it work.
We absolutely will make it work. And I have so much respect for that. But I don't respect other people's opinions when they're like, well, why doesn't Britt just do this? Because it invalidates the businesses that you've created.
100%. And also like podcasting technically can be done anywhere. Yes. So people are right when they say that. It does make it a lot harder with time differences. But people underestimate, I think, how hard we've worked to get to where we are in terms of radio and our career in media. Physically, I have a Monday to Friday job as well as the podcast. Radio is Monday to Friday. Like we do have a media job here as well. So, and I'm really proud of that and I love it. So I also don't want to give that up. And Ben doesn't want to give his career up because his career isn't infinite. It has an end date. Athletes retire and he will never kick a football again, except for maybe with like
the kids, maybe
with the local teams. He'll probably always play and with the kids. But like that is a huge reason that people don't understand why we are long distance for now, and we're both proud of that.
I just say this with like the utmost respect for both of you, like in the fact that you are making it work, the fact that you both are able to prioritize relationships but also have goals that you're passionate about, that are individual to you, that you care about. I know that not everybody will understand it, but I very much do. And I think that it's fucking cool that you can make it work.
It's also one of the things I'm most proud of, that she is so driven, successful, and you guys are doing so well. And I think it's a classic case of like, you know, by all due respect, what do I care what other people think? Britt and I are happy.
Yeah.
And that's the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my time with, not with someone who comments something on Instagram.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, so that's one of the things I was like, I'm so glad she's independent, she's driven and goal focused, and she wants to do well and she wants to live her passion. But at the same time, she lets me live my passion and pursue my career. And like I said, we know there's an end goal, and if we work hard at what we love to do right now, hopefully our lives will be better down the line with all the stuff we worked for.
Guys, I'm so happy for you. When is the wedding going to be, and what can we know about it?
We're thinking probably this time next year. I don't want a long engagement. And I say that because we still want to go on the kid train. Like, we still want to go.
I mean, you can have kids and then get married. I know someone in the room who did that.
No, I think because we know for us, it's highly likely kids will be IVF, which is a whole fucking another kettle of fish. Like, you really have to commit there
to the process
because it's expensive, it's long, it's emotionally draining, physically draining. Like, there's so much that goes into it. So I wouldn't want to be going through that, and also saying, what if I get pregnant when the wedding happens, or what if, so I would rather just be fully committed when that time comes. So yeah, probably this time next year, we think maybe it'll be like maybe a destination wedding, somewhere islandy that Ben's family doesn't have to travel quite as far. Somewhere nice, warm and tropical. Could be Bali. It could be Hamilton Island. Could be, I don't know, Fiji. You get the idea. Like somewhere, because it'll be Australian winter. So I would like it to be a bit warmer somewhere.
But also, I mean, like, nice to do it somewhere where if you've all got to travel anyway, like, go somewhere that's amazing, Like, if we're all
100%.
traveling, let's go somewhere we can have a holiday.
Yes, 100%. So it can be like a couple of days of wedding stuff and then everyone has a holiday.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be a big or a small wedding?
What's considered a big wedding?
Well,
I
how
don't
many
know.
people do it?
Over 100, I would say, is a big wedding. I would say under 80 is a small wedding.
Small.
Yeah. I mean, because my side of the family or friends, they have to travel a long way. Obviously, we're going to have to see how many people actually make it over. That's why we want to have like a nice destination wedding so people can have a holiday and maybe combine it. That maybe
it also
entices them more
weeds
to come.
Yeah, destination weddings it weeds out people, and only the people that really want to commit and like your really important close people come. Don't you reckon? Is that rude?
No, I think that's exactly why people have destination weddings.
Yeah.
It's like only people who really care about you or really, really want a holiday. They're the only two people that come.
It's hard because obviously a destination wedding, we'll never make it Europe where it's super expensive for people. It's always going to be close to Australia.
Yeah.
Because expense is a part too. Like, it's really expensive living right now. And it's just unfortunate that our families live on the other side of the world and we have to try and find a halfway kind of place.
In terms of like how many people from your side of the family and stuff, Ben, what do you think would be, like, how many people do you think would come?
It's hard to say. I think if all my sort of close friends are able to make it, it'll probably be between 20 and 30. With partners, obviously, it will be between 20 and 30 max.
Yeah.
We had a small wedding. It was like 75 people and it was perfect. It was a perfect size.
Yeah, I think
reckon
it will be around that.
Yeah, 50 to 70 people, I reckon.
Amazing.
Which is nice. It's amazing.
Okay, and if you guys have kids, will they be bilingual?
Well, not from me. Aussie,
No.
Aussie and
For you.
English.
Do you try? Like, have you tried to learn?
Yes, I try. Dankeschön, das ist Quitzy. No, they will hopefully be trilingual, but it will all be Ben. So it's not going to be me.
What
I'm
languages do you speak?
Obviously, I grew up German. We have a Swiss-German sort of like accent, which is basically the same. We learn French and English, obviously, in school. And then later on, we would learn Italian, which is... I can understand more than I can actually speak, but that's kind of the main...
So funny, when we met, we were talking about languages the first, and I was like, so what languages do you speak? And he told me, like, rattled off 4. And he's like, what do you speak?
And we're like, English. There's nothing more Australian.
I was like, English. We don't speak anything. I felt so stupid.
There is nothing more Australian than only knowing one language. And it's embarrassing for us.
But I definitely think me and the kids need to gang up on Britt and speak, another language behind their back and stuff.
Ben
like
is
that.
committed to teaching minimum 2 languages to the kids,
Yeah.
which is a big effort. Like, because it means constantly he has to speak German or Italian.
It's a great
or
thing to
French.
have in life, I think.
100%. But it also means at that point in your life, Britt, you'll obviously start to learn it too.
I
Like,
think
that will
so.
that
I
will
mean,
change.
You've been learning, and we're not very far.
We're not very. Britt takes a while with some things.
Have you tried speaking German? It's really hard. Anyway, that's
Look,
it.
that is it from us, guys. We are, like, I can't say it enough times. We're so happy for you. Welcome to the podcast that now just talks about wedding content for the next year at least.
The last thing I do want to say is genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, like, I was overwhelmed. It's going to make me upset again by
More crying, more tears.
just the love from the lifers, like the love from just everyone. It was so much more than I ever expected. And I'm not just saying that. It was overwhelming. And I want you guys to know that I have tried to read every message and every single comment, but there have literally been like thousands upon thousands, but I have tried to read them. I probably can't write back to you all, but Ben can attest to this. Like I've cried so many times reading them. He reads them out to me sometimes. Like he'll see them or he'll get them. And then just from strangers, like I feel like my faith has been restored a little bit in humanity. Like thousands of strangers saying, I don't even know you girls, but I'm so happy for you. And like the love that you have and just the response has meant the world to me. And I'm so glad that you guys could all come along this journey because I've waited such a long time and you have been there for the whole ride. And I guess it's the next chapter now. You get to come on the wedding journey now and then hopefully one day the kid journey. Look at this tear rolling down my face. It's so slow. Go fast. Look at it. So a big humongo thank you. And to my beautiful fiance, I adore you and I love you and I can't wait to spend the rest of my squiddy life with you.
I love you too, baby.
And you know the drill.
Tell your friends. What's your friends at?
Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your dog, tell your friends and share the love because we have love. Ben,
Tell someone.
tell them.